So seafood restaurant in Punggol has become the talk of the town. It came under fire for allowing customers to catch their own live crabs using a claw machine. House of Seafood introduced the gimmick earlier this month. For $5 a go, you get to snap up the Sri Lankan crab, and if successful, the restaurant will cook it for free. As far as we know, only one person has been successful. In an effort to claw back the public backlash against it, the restaurant said on Facebook that it has stopped using the machine temporarily. This came a day after it was called out by the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or SPCA, as being cruel to the crabs. We've invited SPCA Executive Director Jaipal Singh Gill, hello, on our show to tell us more, and I understand you have an exclusive for us.
Yes, well, unfortunately, last night we received another case very similar to the first one. This one is in Jurong. It's a lobster claw machine.
Ooh.
So it's a bit disappointing to hear that. This machine has supposedly been in existence for a few months.
Okay.
So we have gone down, we've already investigated the case, and we're putting up a report to the authorities, and we're hoping that swift action can be taken for this case as well.
So this is also a seafood restaurant?
Yes, it's also a seafood restaurant.
Oh my gosh. Well, on the heels of that, you guys actually released a statement about the crab thing that story that we're talking about today, and you released a statement on Tuesday. So actually, how did this come to your attention?
So the case was brought to our attention by a member of the public.
Okay.
Actually, almost every issue the SPCA looks into, a case that we deal with, comes from a complaint or report from a member of the public. So we are very grateful to the community. You know, they are our eyes and ears on the ground. So that's how the complaint came in. And when I first received the complaint, I had to do a quick check for the date, because I was just wondering if this was the 1st of April. That was how surprising it was that in this day and age in Singapore, someone would come up with this concept. Unfortunately, it was real, and where we are now.
You guys thought it was a joke initially.
I did for a second. I mean, sometimes you just wonder that, could this actually be something that someone came up with again in this day and age. It was a bit surprising. And
it does sound, a little bit absurd, right?
It does, yes.
But there have been people sort of debating that this is no more cruel than a live seafood restaurant where people grab the crabs in front of you and cook them in front of you. Is this quite the same?
No, I mean, there are differences. So there's 2 points I'll bring up here. The first is that there are differences. I mean, if someone picks up a crab and then goes and prepares it for processing to be put on the plate, they're not going to be picking up a crab and then dropping it and picking up a crab and dropping it. The unnecessary, and that's our argument here, the unnecessary harm that we are doing to the crabs in this machine, it just doesn't have to happen. You do not need to have the machine. The machine, the game is not part of the food processing for the animal to get from farm.
It exists for entertainment purposes.
Exactly. I think that's the only value it has, which is entertainment, and we don't think it's right to harm an animal for the sake of entertainment. If we talk about the live seafood industry, then yes, there are issues. I think that's clear. Anyone who knows about animal welfare, you look at what's happening in the live seafood industry, you identify issues. But we should be moving forward and trying to improve standards over time and improve the way we treat the animals in that industry, not going back. We feel this machine is just taking a step back.
I see. So it shouldn't be the case where we look at history and be like, oh, they've always done it this way, so we should also follow doing it this way, right? It shouldn't be going
Absolutely not. If you look at any animal industry, you can look at even the domestic animal scene in Singapore, dogs and cats. There are some things that have been happening for a while, and just because it is, doesn't mean we accept it. We look at it, we can understand where it's come from, we can understand why it happened. So if you look at, again, at live seafood, you can understand some of the history behind it. But I think, again, we should be moving and improving, moving forward all the time.
I see. Well, speaking of moving forward, yesterday the House of Seafood actually released an apology. They said that they did this to teach children about marine life, and they intended to encourage them to release the crabs back into the wild. What do you think of this?
So, from the start, we never felt that the restaurant was intentionally trying to harm the crabs. We appreciate them coming up and clarifying their point of view. We knew that they did not intend to harm the crabs. Unfortunately, the machine does.
Okay.
On the point of education, again, we appreciate the effort or the thought of wanting to educate the next generation. I think we all would agree, even in the animal welfare sector, that we want to have more education for the younger generation especially. But the machine just doesn't meet any educational goals that we would think is appropriate. If anything, actually it does the opposite. I think what it does is it tells children who play the game, who might play the game or see someone playing the game, that animals are here for our amusement, our entertainment. If they get hurt in the process, well, it doesn't matter, So I don't think that's an educational point of value that we want to bring forward to the next generation. So it doesn't help. I think there are other ways to educate the young, especially about marine life. Actually, there are many groups out there in Singapore doing good work in this area. So I think maybe we can sort of look at some of what they are doing. They do the education without harming animals, and I would suggest the restaurant look at some of those methods as well.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for coming down to share more with us and coming all the way down to SPH to talk to us about this very important topic.
Pleasure.
And for more on this story, do head down to our website, that's straitstimes.com. And thanks for watching The Big Story today. If you'd like more news and videos, do head on to our website, that's straitstimes.com. Once again, this is Kimberly Jiao. We'll see you on Monday.